someone.
Jesus
right?
voluntarily.
Right.
Thank you.
But as you realize, this verse goes actually against God's being so loving. Because if God was so loving, he would kill himself.
Well, he did, because he is. Jesus and the Father are one. So he did.
So
He did die himself as well.
On the cross,
Yep.
who died? The Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, or the flesh?
Well,
or all of them?
I hate to be arbitrary about it, but extremely, in a technical sense, it was Christ himself.
So the
But-
Father didn't die.
But the Father also died, really, because he is one with Jesus. So on the cross, they both.
May I suggest do you go to church or have priests and scholars?
Yes, I go to
Ask
church.
them that I made a statement that the Father also died.
Yeah.
And ask them
Okay.
to say whether this is correct or not. Because I'm sure they will say this is not the correct belief to have. You might have your own belief, but this won't, because in that instant,
I think technically, as I said, Jesus died. There's no doubt.
who suffered? The
Jesus.
Father or the Son?
Well, can you imagine how much the Father suffered as well?
Can God suffer?
Of course he suffered when his Son was there. Of course he did.
So God can actually suffer.
He suffered along
So you
with
can
his Son,
you can
yeah.
make God to suffer.
I think God. I'm not God, but I think God.
That's what
is
you believe
compassionate.
about him, that you can make God suffer.
God, all this stuff is so far beyond us. It's like ants trying to
Just
understand.
imagine someone says we can punish God in hellfire and he can be suffering. Would that make sense?
No.
Exactly. God is the creator of feelings of pain and suffering. He doesn't need to suffer himself to know what is suffering, to know what is joy, to know what is happiness. So it is rather not appropriate to say God suffers in hellfire or God suffered in crucifixion. We say God is the one who is perfect and who is the most high and who is far removed from all that people associate about him. Do you know why? Do you know
I
why?
believe differently than that.
Okay, do you
I
know
think
why-
God can suffer. Yeah, I do.
Do you believe God is perfect?
Yeah, I think he's perfect.
Sure.
But he can suffer too.
Do you believe a
He
perfect
suffers when I do bad.
Mike? Do you believe a perfect being can have imperfect attributes if he so chose to?
I don't believe God has them. No, he doesn't have imperfect attributes.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes no sense to have a perfect God with imperfect attributes.
Oh,
Being all knowledgeable or being ignorant, which is a perfect attribute of God? Being ignorant about something or having knowledge of everything? Which is the perfection?
how could God be ignorant? He is omniscient. He knows,
Okay.
and he's
So-
omnipresent.
Right.
He
So,
can't be ignorant.
good. Was Jesus God to begin with, a perfect God?
Before he came to earth, he was.
Right. So, was he all knowledgeable? Being a perfect God, he has to be all
Of
knowledgeable.
course.
Right.
In eternity, yes.
Can an all knowledgeable God become less than all knowledgeable later?
When he become a man, yeah.
Do you know what all knowledgeable means?
Of course.
You know the past, present, and the future.
Yeah.
You know the future already.
Yeah.
So, if God knows the future already, can he then not know it?
Well, it must have, because when he came
No.
here, he didn't know the
Just
future.
for the time being, think outside the Christian theology
Right.
and Christian belief. If you affirm God knows the future already, what it means that he's always going to know the future. He will never become ignorant of the future. It will be impossible for God to be ignorant of the future. So if anyone says someone doesn't know the future, you would know that that someone wasn't all knowledgeable to begin with. So if Jesus became ignorant of the future, that means he wasn't all knowledgeable to begin with. I leave that with this thought.
I get your point, my
I
friend.
leave that with this thought. And you have the
Very
Quran.
difficult, Mansur.
You have this Quran.
Good. I've
Read,
enjoyed talking to
study,
you.
ask questions,
Okay, thank you,
and
my friend.
ask God to guide.
It's
Right?
good to talk to
Yeah.
to Muslim, and I think we need to talk more. Because we're all brothers, really.
We are from the same
Yeah.
Adam and Eve.
That's right, my friend. And there's too much fighting and anger. People. Even I'm sorry if I ever get angry or anything.
no, it's all right.
I'm an older man, and sometimes my emotion run away.
No problem.
Sometimes my emotion get too much.
It's because of what's happening. So at least
But I'm learning about your religion.
Sure.
That's
Pleasure
good.
speaking to you.
Thank you, my
Open up. Keep your
Can we
heart.
speak again sometime?
Of course, God
I
willing.
feel
Why
like
not?
I've made a friend.
Sure.
Yeah. I hope we can be
keep your
friends.
heart and your mind open.
Yeah.
Because if we are searching and we want to worship the one true God,
Of course.
read the Quran with an open heart.
I like Muslim.
And then you'll see.
You know what? When I went to Australia once, I was in a taxi coming from Sydney Airport, and I got to my hotel room from New Zealand, and I looked at my bag, no wallet, all my money gone, passport, everything. I panicked, you know. I said, it must be on the taxi. Called the taxi. No, don't worry, the taxi driver has your money. He came all the way back. Took him an hour to get to me from the western suburb of Sydney. I said, thank you so much, thank you. He said, don't thank me. I said, look, I'll give you some money. No, he wouldn't take money. He said, I'm a Muslim. He said, this is what we do. Please don't thank me and don't give me money. Just go in peace. And that always, so I can't fault that, you know. The Muslim people are lovely. Most of the one I meet, you know, it's, you know, what do you do? It's all about love, isn't it?
Nice talking to you. Pleasure.
But that's a true story, Mansur.
Thank you.
I'll talk to you
We'll
next
talk
time.
again. Thank you.
His concept of what they just pray.